Hello, denizens of the internet. So, today we're talking about Stormcast. Everyone and their dog is playing Stormcast.
That's not me again.
Now, I want to cash in on a take here, okay, which is that on a YouTube video a month ago, I said Stormcast is S tier, and then there was a guy in the comments. I got absolutely lit up on the comments of that video, right? Okay. And I do have to screen share for Luke.
I went down 10 points and now you're saying it's S tier.
Yeah. So someone literally said like, "Oh, Karazai went down 20 points, and now you think the army's S tier, right?" I've done the wrong thing. Hold on. So I just stuff up the overlay. Okay. Yeah. So Karazai went down 20, and then I said they're S tier, and then I said in the comments, "Let's come back to this a month later and see who was correct." I just want to say it's about a month later. I was pretty correct. Okay, I just want to say, and I said
not won. Have they won anything yet?
Well, Dan won, didn't he? With no, he didn't. We came second, but I mean, he went 5-0, right? With Karazai and Dragons. We saw Karazai, 4 Dragons, 6 Long Strikes, 3 Praetors, right? This was like the beginning of the end, right? the first disgusting one drop list of many to come. And yeah, we're in a new world of Stormcast. We had some new releases. We had a terrain feature, which all the Aussies are calling the Portaloo, which is like, you know, the toilets you hire when you're on a construction site. that's basically what they're calling it, right? for the new terrain feature. Shall we go through the terrain feature quickly? Because it's interesting.
Yeah, it's just something free that's just...
Because what is it? Stormreach Portal. Because there's a debate for me of whether it's worth deploying, right? There is a real debate with this one. Because not every army needs this, right? So basically, it's just basically, you know, a terrain feature with 12 wounds, 4 up save, and you can just teleport something not in combat wholly within 6 of it to be anywhere more than 9 away. So what I found this is good for is all the shooting units. And then that's about it. It's been my experience. So I've found with Vigilors especially, it's really good because they got long range, so you're kind of okay with starting on the board, but sometimes you just need to teleport. I don't know. There's some random uses as well. What I've been doing recently is doing like, so on the Vice, right? You always need to have like 2 units on the side that just to stand on the 2 objectives at the start. And so what I've been doing is using my bodyguard unit, which is usually 3 Praetors, to start there on the left, and then just teleport them behind the dragon in the first turn using this thing after they've taken the objective. I don't know, stuff like that, right? It can be kind of useful. But then I've also had some games where, you know, the usual terrain feature fraudulency. Your opponent charges you, just gets a free charge, or gets a free battle tactic on the terrain feature, you know.
Fraud! It's a fraud!
I hate when they do like, "Oh, I want to do not waver," and I'm gonna be like, "Are you gonna fight me?" And they're like, "No, I'm just gonna hit your terrain feature." You're like, "Oh, God damn it."
I know.
It's or you know, it's pretty big, right? So it can give them a terrain feature for take their land that they can easily get, you know, because they can just move close to it, and you can't really zone it out that well because they can charge it. So yeah, I don't know. It's a debate for me. If you're running the 1-drop, would you deploy this? Like the Karazai or Krondus and bunch of long strikes and the Dragons and Paladors?
Yes, because I still think it's a good screen.
So you just deploy it kind of forward.
You kind of want them to, in those 1-drop lists, you kind of want them to run at you and pin you in, because then you just table them.
Yeah.
And it obviously gives the long strikes guys just, they could deploy on the board and then do counter shoot and then teleport.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I do think it's good in those kind of lists, but probably not. It's like the Lumineth, right? The Lumineth, you kind of deployed it, didn't you, in certain lists, and you didn't deploy it in other lists.
Yeah, a little list now, you probably won't deploy it. Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, it feels quite optional, which is probably good.
It's pretty good for something that you can decide how to have for free or not.
Yeah, Yeah, it's just sometimes you don't want to. If it's in your list, do you have to deploy it? I don't know what the rules.
So Six Nations, they ruled that you didn't have to deploy it.
Okay. All right. Yeah,
So
that
I
might
think
just be. If you guys are going to a tournament with Stormcast, that might be something to ask your TO about if you can take this in your list and then choose not to deploy it. Because some games, if you're playing against, for example, like Fire Slayers with a Rune Smiter, you definitely do not want to deploy it because it'll just give them a free charge, stuff like this. Or Callus and Toll's probably a good example of something you probably would think about not deploying it against, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Callus and Toll, you just made me sick.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, so terrain feature aside, we had our big balance patch, and Lumineth got decently nerfed. I wouldn't say completely removed from the game, but
yeah, I wouldn't go like overboard. Everybody's going overboard, but it's still good. Storm Riders and stuff.
I would just say that the wind charges and the non-Severus foxes feel quite a bit worse, but Severus to me still feels worth it, I think, because with him you can always just charge something and then power through or whatever, right? It's not too much of a drama.
Yeah, you can.
But maybe some people will think about not taking him now, but you can still go 20 Dawn Riders with a Lord Regent and do 1 million damage. And that's probably quite good against the 2 top armies, which both have 3 up saves, right? So, anyway, we'll see what happens with Lumineth, but I think they're gonna be fine.
Yeah. Don't sell all your Lumineth armies just yet.
Yeah.
It's not quite over for you yet.
What else did we have? We had Slanesh got nerfed, which was random but needed. Yeah, some people on TTS had been playing that you could basically make your entire army have exploding 6s and run and charge, right? With the way the rule was written. And then you give your opponent 10 Destiny dice, right? But the way they'd written, the Destiny dice now is you wouldn't really use them for most instances. So, yeah, you could just kind of get exploding 6s. What's that? Is that Alariel?
No, the Zinch Endless spells, which are pretty yes. Broken. Right?
Burning Sigil. Yeah. Burning Sigil got a massive buff. I guess that was the previous one, but yeah.
Best endless spell in the game, right there. You go.
Yeah, Burning Sigil's it's a problem.
Don't tell Nathan because it's his model, and I was supposed to send him the Zinch spells a while ago.
Yeah. Yeah, Zinch has been kicking around. I did put it in B tier in that same video, so people are probably going to be like, Stuart, you should be honest about that. It's not B tier.
You're definitely wrong.
I'm not gonna say it's S tier though, right? I think it's probably like
it's not S tier. No.
It's probably like middle A, lower A. I think
Alexander did just beat Crondy pre-nerf with Zangor spam. A big 70-man Denmark singles. With Zinch.
But Zinch is just that army though, right? Where if you're the better player, I feel like you can win every matchup, right? That's the sort of army it's going to be. And
just don't tell Golden Boy that Alexander's better than you.
But I know, but I don't know who the better player is, but I know Alexander's very good. So I mean, just as a strong player, it's one of those armies that just gives you 1 million tools, right? And the Zangor are probably pretty undercosted as well, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting world we're in. Slave to Darkness still kicking around. Iron Jaws we thought was alright, and it's probably terrible actually. I don't know. Still.
Well, I'm being forced to use that army.
Yeah. But anyway, we're doing Stormcast today, aren't we? So we'll go through the points changes and talk about the new units as well. We're not going to do a tier list because there's too many units that are terrible and...
we've done a tier list, haven't we?
We did a tier list, right? So you can go watch that back on Onwards Patreon.
It's pretty similar. All the new units are still dog shit, so...
It's pretty similar, but I think we had Paladors in A and not S. And they should have been in S, in my opinion. And Quest of Soulsworn, okay, so I have to say, that's kind of a hidden change, right? But because we now have the teleporting thing, right? We now have the thing that can teleport, and Vindictors went down 10 points for some reason. I think Quest to Soulsworn straight in the bin.
Yes.
Alright. Straight in the bin. So you guys know that I love that unit, but they're straight in the bin now.
Oh, Vigilors should probably be an S tier as well. For
Yes.
130 points is a
Yes.
bit of a joke.
Yeah. So there's a few units in here that we maybe slightly underestimated, but I have 5 Vigilors in every single one of my lists now. They're just so broken. It's just such an insane unit.
So I don't, but yeah, they should be. It's the interesting thing about Stormcast is there's lots of lists that are good now.
Yeah. I've also been running 2 units of 5 Vindictors in a few lists as just like little skirmishing units / screens. And for 100 points, they feel good for 100 points. Like, they'll beat anything of the same points value. It's pretty wild. They're 100 points now. Yeah.
Yeah, that is criminal. 100 points for some Vindictors.
Like 10 wounds, 3 up save. They can go first, and then they Ren 2 if they charge. Right? It's pretty good. They're pretty nice. All right.
What about? Are you sure it's Vindictors that? The one guys with the shield and spears?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Poor
Vanquishers.
Vanquishers.
Yeah, Vanquishers still getting random shots left and right. Anyway, should we go through the heroes? So the Prime went down 40. Is he good now?
So I thought I like the Prime. Is it been in my lists? So it's just a bonus for me. Is he S tier? No.
He's definitely A.
Is he better than all the other heroes that are on the same base size, like Jester and all that lot? Yes.
Yes. Yeah, in my head, if the Prime is going down, Indrasta needs to go down. And Indrasta should probably be cheaper than the Prime as well. But I guess not.
Yeah, she needs to be cheaper. But Prime is good. Yeah, I do like the Prime.
And the battalions are great as well, right? That's the other thing with the Prime, like you just take anything in there, so that just opens up so many options.
It's just a good target for -1 attack, like Karazai and all that. He's a good target to have that bodyguard.
Yep. And any Stormcast Eternals, what that means is you can take Vanguard units. Whenever you see that, just think this guy can take Paladors, okay? Because like it's actually quite hard in this army to get Paladors in your list unless you take a Prime or a Dragon, right? One of the named dragons. Like it's actually hard. You have to take some ultra fraud unit. Drakesworn Templar went down 20. Now, so, okay. He's actually good, but you just won't take him until they nerf Karazai and Krondus, right? You just won't. I mean, yeah. He's actually a good war scroll, right? Especially in a monster meta. He can do some real damage in combat, but...
Yeah, I agree. Same as the Knight Draconith as well, right? Going down 30 points is...
Yeah.
Is interesting.
Yeah, then the other one that went down is Gardas went down 30 points, which is a lot. But you got to just kind of like check yourself on the hopium here because 200 was obviously way too much to begin with. So like probably 170 is maybe where he should have started. And I think he's still too expensive. I mean, for those who are unfamiliar with his War Scroll, right? It's like almost good. And then you really think about it, and then it's like, is this ever going to work in any game? Like, so you pick 3 infantry units, wholly within 6. Like, so really what you mean is Annihilators, right? Because any other unit is going to be too hard, and then you get +1 charge and +1 attack, and then if you charge, you get 5 upwards. So, the thing what this guy is for is really... Annihilators. I think that's what they're thinking the buff is for. Like, we take this guy and Annihilators, we charge in, we hit stuff, and then if they live, we're tanky with the 5 up ward and they hit back. I don't know. For 170 though, are you really taking him? I don't know. Looks mid to me. Shit battalions.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is battalions.
It's just the battalions matter a lot, right? And if it doesn't say Vanguard, you're sad. That's what it means in Stormcast, right?
This is why we don't like the... Well, I don't like the Tauralon, but...
Yes. Who has terrible battalions. Yeah. Yeah, so as you said, the Draconith went down 30. So, obviously, he gives the dragons basically spell ignore and +1 attack. That's what he does. and he's
And
okay himself.
I do think, and I do think dragons are pretty good. To be fair, they are
Yes.
pretty good.
Yep. So for 250, that's kind of a steal. He's very cheap. Yeah. Problem with Stormcast is the artifacts and command traits are not that great, so you don't feel that bad not taking.
Shield on him is pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I like the Taurolon as well, right? You can chuck it on the Taurolon. But so I look at this guy and I'm thinking,
this guy does more damage than Taurolon,
right? Yes, definitely. Yeah.
And he makes dragons do more damage.
Yeah, but like, would you rather have a 5 at ward on your dragons, just like quite a lot of the time? You know, I know it's janky with the Taurolon.
Yeah, but the spell ignore's pretty good right now, right?
Yeah. It's into ancient stuff and also enemy Krondus. Yeah. You got to think about that now, right? If you're a Stormcast player, with the popularity of the army, you're going to play another Stormcast player at a 5-game event. You're going to, okay? So think about what you can do to, like, change your list to be better against other Stormcasts, right? Probably 6 long strikes, but... anyway, that's, maybe you need 12, actually, to have any chance of killing the big guy.
And you've got to think about OBR as well, because they have -1 to wound and shooting, so they are they're an issue. The Palador damage starts going down.
Yes,
quite a
with
lot.
-on the wound, yeah. The Night Quester went down 10. That doesn't matter. He's terrible. You're still not going to take him. I've played many games with him, and the Quester Souls one also got nerfed. Also, just I want to say.
Wait, I've got a message with you saying the one, and he was in the list.
Yes, originally. Yes.
It was like 2 months ago.
Yes, with Karazai. Now, that list was actually good, but now there's just better stuff. And probably also at that time, the Paladors and Long Strikes were better, but yeah. Krondus went up 20, which is what I would call a placebo nerf, because 20 points doesn't matter, really. On a 560-point model. Right. But it's just
It changes some lists. It's not easy to put
I don't know.
in a list. It doesn't mean you can get the next best thing. You got to sacrifice a unit's got to get worse to get him in, basically.
Yeah, it's just I just want to say that it doesn't mean that he's still not amazing, right?
No, yeah, he's pretty goddamn good.
I think it's actually it's pretty amazing that the development team has actually nerfed him, because not that many people running him, and he was overpowered. So it's actually quite good that they've nerfed him here, because I think if they hadn't nerfed him, then there'd be some lists. Yeah,
they're going in a good way, aren't they? They're on about doing monthly changes. It's pretty insane for a game.
Yeah, and when I see this sort of change where I feel like they're slightly ahead of the curve, I think that's really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lord Aquila going down 20. So this is one of the fraud units I was talking about that you don't want to take. So what you can do when you're playing Stormcast is refuse to bring a monster, and then because you've refused to bring a monster, you have to bring a Lord Aquila. And just don't do that. Just bring the damn monster.
Or bring Prime, right? Prime
or the Prime, exactly. So bring a Prime or a monster, not the Lord Aquila. All right, he's terrible. Okay. We had some. I forgot that he went down 10, but the Lord Celestin or Stardrake went down a bit. He's pretty good, but not in this meta. I think he's awful in this meta, but in the future, when monsters die a little bit and he's not dueling other monsters, then he'll be a lot better. But now it's
and the long strikes are slowly going away.
Yeah, I mean, it's still nice with him and the Drakesworn Templar that you can have a fighty monster with Mirror Shield that can't be shot, right? They're still really good, but it's I prefer this Templar at the moment. It's 40 points cheaper and good against monsters. Okay, and then 2 of the Ruination Chamber heroes went down. I still think you probably run neither in your Ruination Chamber list, but they exist.
Although Lord Terminus, is he good?
Yeah, the Lord Terminus I like. So he can chain fight to the Ruination Chamber, and he slaps, and he gives them +3 control score. So he's okay. The Veritant, the reason to take him is because he's a priest that can unbind, which is not bad, actually. And then the Gryffstalker guy, He gives you your double fight, but my problem with him is he's a cavalry, so you can just get shot, right? It's such a problem with an 8 wound model. It's just like, it's criminal how
Well, he
easy
can
he
have the
dies.
mirror shield as well, can't he?
Yeah, but in the armor you're taking him, which is the army of renown, he doesn't get mirror shield, so
Oh.
that's the problem. Okay, then we had we have a few new heroes to talk about, right? So, we have Iridan the Witness. All right. So I've played many games with this guy now. So I wanna just get on my soapbox a bit for a sec, Luke, because they've really stuffed up the Ruination Chamber. They've really stuffed it up. And the reason is, so this guy has to be 330 points. He actually has to be that points cost. And the reason is if you take him on his own in the sub-faction where he gets a 5-up ward the whole game, and he has the 4-up ignore ability, yes, he's actually worth 330 points. That's the problem, right? Like, the first Ruination Chamber unit you take is worth the points, and then every unit after that is not. That's the problem, right? So every unit in the Ruination Chamber is overcosted. Except Reclusians, probably. The rest of them just so expensive.
He should be 2 priests as well. Like, what the hell?
If they didn't have this problem to deal with, he should literally be 230 points. He should be 100 points cheaper with this war scroll, because his damage in combat is fine.
Shocking.
It's more than I thought it was, but it's still bad. His monstrous rampage is awful. Okay, so I thought it was okay, but the way it's written, so you have to roll a dice over the target's health characteristic, and only then can you actually move. So you have to actually roll over their health characteristic to make the move. So if you're playing against an army that has cavalry with 5 wounds, it's like only works on a 6, and he gets the move, right? So terrible. And his prayer is like almost comically bad. Like, after you fight, so until the end of that turn only, so it doesn't even last until your next turn, you heal D3 after you fight, and then you get a 6-up ward for the rest of the turn, which is just like, what does that even do? I don't know. So he's terrible, and even worse than him is the Lord Vigilant on Morgriff, which I think is maybe contending for the worst war scroll in the book. It's definitely up there. So his damage is truly terrible. Alright, so just awful. Okay. And his ability is, you can give a Ruination Chamber +5 control score until the end of the turn, but they have to stay wholly within 12 of him. That part is so bad. Because this guy, you want to be sending on his own mission, right? To go do stuff. That's the idea. But you have to just castle around this stupid army with this guy.
Yeah.
And then, look, check out this Monstrous Rampage. It's just, you pick an enemy non-monster hero in combat. So what is that? What actually... I don't know what that is. It's a little wizard. He gets strikes last and they can't use commands. Okay, it's sick if you play against Alania and Elithor. But then you still have to roll a 9 to get over the health characteristic. I don't know. Can we just skip the 2d6 part and just have this? Like, strike last, no commands? And then at least it's still terrible, but at least it works. 280 points for this horse girl, right? So...
Criminal.
Pretty sad. It's a nice model too. We have the Knight Azeros. Okay, so 12-inch move, 6 wounds. Not great. 3-up save. Pretty normal combat profile. He has a random ability. So, in any combat phase, on a 3-up, you decide whether you're going to make enemy units within combat with him -1 to hit, or you heal every Stormcast unit within range D3. So, look, I hate this because it's so awkward to play around. Like, when I'm playing this guy, he's hugging all my heroes the whole game for the heal, but he moves 12 inches, so why do I have, like, what's the point of having 12-inch move, right? If I have to hug everyone, like, I don't know. And then he has really great ability, right? But I just think in practicality, it's less useful than it seems. So you can pick a friendly prosecutors unit, and on a 3-up,
You've got to pay for prosecutors, which
yes,
aren't good.
and they're expensive. and probably not worth the points, as you said, 140 for 3. They can retreat if you roll a 3-up or normal move. So the idea is, right?
Retreat, take D3 damage.
No, they don't. Oh yeah, they do. No, they don't take. It says they don't take mortal wounds. They don't.
Does
take
it? Does it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, without any mortal wound. Okay.
Yeah, but so my thing is, right, you move this guy up. So I think the idea is you send the prosecutors in, you move this guy up, and then on a 3-up, you move backwards after hitting something, right? Basically power through. But my problem is you move him back, and this guy's going to be pretty far up, right? Like, if you've just gone, and he's 6 wounds on a 3-up save, I don't know. And then even they're still going to be decently far up, and you have to roll a 3-up.
The game's soon becoming the role of a 3 and a 4-off, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't like this sort of war scroll, right? So I don't really like the Knight of Zeros. At least he's infantry, so he doesn't get shot off immediately like some of the other heroes. But Taunus, I actually rate. Okay, so he's got 8 wounds, which is nice. Control 5, which is also pretty good. He's got a random shooting weapon where if you roll a 6, it can just kind of randomly pop off because it's like exploding 6s with 1 attack. His combat's fine. He has the same Knight Azeros thing with the weird combat phase ability, but his big thing is it's a really boring ability that's really good, and generally that's what you want in Age of Sigmar. When a Ruination Chamber unit uses Rally, you just get 3 additional Rally points. So not 3 dice, but 3 points. So that means you're getting 3 plus whatever you roll on the 4-ups. So on your Reclusian units, right, you can get guaranteed 1 model back, potentially 2, using Rally. If you're trying to heal, if you're trying to heal Iridan the shitness, at least he's healing 3 plus, but he's probably healing 6, right, which is nice.
Oh, it's so sad.
But he's 220, and his battalions are terrible. So. And
you got to do, and it works on Ruination Chamber.
Yeah, there's only one build you would take this guy. In that build, he's probably good, but other than that, no. Okay, so that's all the heroes, I believe, that have changed. Am I missing anyone? I don't think so. No. All right, let's talk about the units. So, Annihilators, Aether Wings don't matter. Just move on. I mean, maybe you take 3 in a Vanguard list. I don't know.
Then you take Gryph-hounds, surely, over Aether.
Well, they give you like +1 to hit or something. If you're +1 to hit for targets within 9 of these guys with your Vanguard Chamber units. So maybe a cheap way to get a Vigilor-esque effect in there. Maybe. Yeah. Annihilators both went down 10. Are they good? I don't know. I don't know.
Still expensive, aren't they?
Yeah, it's just getting to that points cost where it's like, ooh, 1 more drop and we might be in.
I reckon 120. I reckon 120 for the guys in shield.
That'd be broken. that would be broken actually. With
120, the come on, please.
I think if the Grand Hammers went to like 180, 190, I think they start to become pretty scary. A unit of 6 of them. But I think 420 for 6 is probably a bit much at the moment.
I mean, that's 20 points cheaper than 6 Vanguard Paladins.
Yeah. All right. Then what else changed? We had the Storm Coven unit. So
it's pretty good.
No. I don't think so, personally.
It's a 2-caster.
All right. I think this unit sucks. It's maybe a hot take, but I think the spell's good, right? It's a good spell. My problem is it's only to the end of the turn, so if you want it to work on your opponent's turn, you're going to have to countercast it. It's a 12-inch range. Alright, so how often is that really happening? Alright, and then you look at it, and it's like, all these other units, so your Plague Pack and your Gobapalooza, right, which are the same sorts of units, they're more efficient than the same points of Wizards, in terms of wounds, right? Like your Gobapalooza, it's 15 wounds with a 4-up ward for the first turn.
For the first turn. Yeah.
And then, then it gets worse. Okay, but my problem with this unit, right, is a wizard in Stormcast costs 120 points, right? These are 210. And they're only 9 wounds, and they can be shot, because they don't have guarded hero. So, beyond the drops thing, the drops thing is a thing, right? They're good for lowering the drops and still having a wizard. That's what they're for.
Yeah, which Stormcast struggle with.
But taking 2 wizards is probably better, points-wise, than taking 1 of these. Probably. If you think about it that way, right? In terms of raw efficiency of what you're getting, it's probably better. And taking 2 wizards in Stormcast is terrible. So I'm saying that because if these look like almost equivalent to 2 1-cast wizards, then they probably suck. That's my way of looking at it, right? So I looked at these in a list, and it's like you could take Karazai and your Storm covered, but then don't you just take Kronus at that point? Like you know what I mean?
Say, why is he wearing a hood when he's got a helmet on?
Look, okay, same reason people have a cape with armor on, right? It's the same thing, right? It's just for the
yeah, but it looks cool over the cape, doesn't it? But like,
he's in the hood, man.
He's in the hood.
No, but I think this unit's too expensive, is where I'm at. But
they are too expensive.
Like if they're 180, that's the points cost, which I think is good for them. But 210 is it's too much for this army.
It's so nice, the models.
So I mean, I think taking one of them is like it's not troll or anything. Like it's still going to be a good unit, but it's just I think they're too expensive. That's where I got to. So Stormdrake Guard went down 10. I don't know why they should not have gone down 10. That's one of the units here that should just not have gone down, in my opinion. But here we are. And then here we come to the stupidest change of them all, which is that Starstrike Javelin Paladors went down 10 points. Which is just like...
Hey, hand axes are way worse in every way, and they're more expensive. I didn't even notice that they didn't even go down. What the hell?
So when I did my cavalry efficiency video, where I did all the math for all the cavalry in the game, right? Vanguard Paladors were 5th, okay? And I wasn't including movement in any of my like calculations, right? So I was comparing them to all like slow as shit cavalry with like 8-inch move and 10-inch move, right? And they still, in terms of damage and armor save, performed in the top 5 of all cavalry in the game. Okay, that's including the fact that's not including the fact they can move 14-inch with run, shoot, and charge, ambush, read, and charge, right? Okay, that's that was a sight. At least they take damage. It's true. It's like Death Riders. But yeah, look, they are undercosted, but I will say there's some games where so the thing with them is they suck on your opponent's turn, right? That's the big thing. Like they're super sick on your turn, but they can't countercharge and shoot on your opponent's turn. So if you're playing against the Paladors, you just need to run at them, and you need to get them in combat and hit them. And if you can tag them, it's actually not bad either, because getting the D3 mortal wounds down and also reducing the movement by D6 is not bad either. So,
and they can't fly either, so you can wrap them. So
yes, and they don't really have recursion, so if the damage you get down is not.
Because that's what I did when I played them.
If you get them down to 1 model, I'd say you do still kill them, because the problem with this unit is the champion is like insane, because the champion has +1 attack on the javelin, okay, and that means
it's 4 shots.
Yeah, that means with the combat, right? It's 6 attacks versus 3 attacks, right? So the javelin is the champion actually does as much damage as 2 Paladors, really. But like, if you think, well, if in terms of the javelin part of it, almost 2 Paladors, right? So you got to kill them. But they're obviously insane. So the Raptors with Hurricane crossbows. So they had a war scroll change. I can't remember what they used to do, but now they do. They give you +1 to wound in combat. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for companions, but...
I know, but it's actually pretty... So when you pin the Paladors...
Yeah.
These guys are shooting you with 2s and 2s with all that attack, essentially.
Yeah. Well, with the... Well, I don't know. Thing is, you can already get +1 the wound, right, with Fire Style, so I don't know how good the buff is. But in terms of
Not with shooting, though, right? You can't Fire Style. Does that work on shooting?
It's only +1 the wound in combat.
Combat. Okay.
Yeah.
Then.
So, and the shooting is, I'd have to do the math, but it does look good for 3 models for 100. I don't know.
So how many points are hunters?
110, I believe.
Oh, right, okay. So obviously they're very good, but
yeah, it's just having a shooting unit. Yeah, I don't know. They seem very cheap for what they do. 6 of them. It's actually a decent amount of wounds.
Yeah.
Worth a try for sure.
Good at clearing infantry that sometimes you're going to struggle with.
Yeah. So they look interesting. And then Vindictors went down 10, as I said. So, all right. So before we move on to the next bit, we're gonna talk about Stormstrike Paladors. I realized. As much as it pains me. So, we're gonna come up with a points value. We think they'd be good, right? Because they're not good at this points value. In fact, I did the math, and they're the worst cavalry unit in the book at this points value. Okay, but they do decent damage on the charge, terrible damage not on the charge. Don't have retreat and charge, and then if a warrior chamber unit's been destroyed, you can get strikes first. If you charge,
I honestly think they should be 160.
No, that's too cheap. I would say 180, 190 kind of area. No?
Would you take these at 180? What list are they going in?
So you know what? This is what you do, right? This is what it is, okay? You can just come up with a points value like this. You just take your middle of the range infantry unit, so your vanquishers, right? Reinforce them, and then multiply by 0.75, which is, okay, 165, so Luke's probably right. Reason is because the way they've balanced the cavalry is like you're supposed to get 15 wounds of cavalry for 20 wounds of infantry. Like that's how they've done it. And so if we're gonna,
I don't even know. I might take them at 160, 170. I still don't even know if I would.
Yeah, it's just like, what are they doing? That's the thing, right? They just don't.
I mean, when it comes to playing the game, like, what are they doing?
What are they doing?
Then they do nothing. You get tagged and that's it. They're irrelevant. So do no damage.
Mate, 210, you just compare them to like Chaos Knights. They're just a joke, aren't they? Well, Chaos Knights are what? 250 for 5. With 4 wounds. And basically the same combat profile, right? Basically the same. And you get a mark.
So,
okay.
You can get a unit of 10 Vindictors. And they're essentially 7 inches slower, but they're doing the same thing, like screening and stuff.
Yes, and way more wounds.
5 more wounds.
Yeah, 5 more wounds. Yeah.
Don't know. Shame. They're such nice models. They need a different war scroll. The war scroll's a problem.
Yeah, because when I was doing the math then, it's because like other cavalry you get some other bonus, but I was just thinking of it as just like they should be probably the same points per wound as infantry, because they just don't do anything right. If they're just going to be fast and that's their whole thing, then just make them cheaper. But sad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Give them a javelin. Just say they're your paladors.
To the bin they go. To the bin they go!
Alright, so we talked about all the units, but I want to talk about the 2 armies of renown, because one of them is very close to my heart, because they've made a steward army, okay? They've made a horrible stand there and not die infantry army actually good. So let's talk about the Ruination Brotherhood, which is very strange. So you get your sub-faction for the Ruination Chamber that you'd normally get in Stormcast in this, okay? So 5 award, you just pick a unit. Important thing to note is in your opponent's hero phase you don't have a ward. Okay, that's a problem. If they have mortal wounds in the hero phase, you have no protection against that. So you're going to have to use your 4-up ability Ignore probably in the hero phase sometimes. I have to say, that ability, the 4-up or 3-up if you're Reclusians, to just ignore an ability is, it's really powerful, but it makes for some very swingy scenarios. like 10 Dawn Riders charging into you, right? That should do 7 mortal wounds against infantry, but if you roll a 3-up, then they do 0, but then you never rolled 3-up, do you?
Oh, the age of the 3-up. It's the age of the 3-up.
And then you cry. Alright, so Ruination Brotherhood. So, you get a rampage that your Iridan the Witness is going to use. You have to take him, and he has to be the general, by the way. That stings. So you have to take him. Because I've been sending people some lists. It's like, why are you running that guy? He's terrible. It's like, you have to take him. Yeah. Okay, now you got this ability, which could be terrible if you lose all your heroes, so keep that in mind. You have to use it at the end of every turn, and every non-hero Ruination Chamber unit that used the fight ability is the target, okay? If you're within 12 of a hero, you return a slain model. If you're not wholly within 12 of a hero, you become tormented until the end of the next turn, and get +1 attack, but you can't contest objective or use commands.
Okay.
Now, it has some random good uses, unlimited resources, okay? Because you can do this and then score. So you can go move outside of 12 of a hero, hit something, right? Go and kill something, and then not take an objective because you just say, I'm not contesting objectives. Pretty cool, unlimited resources. Otherwise, just stay within 12 of a hero. It's been my thing. And you get regenerating Reclusians. And the other thing you get in this one is a 6-up ward on your borrowed chamber units while they're wholly within 12 of Ruination Chamber units, which is fine. / good. Okay, the unlimited prayer is terrible. I played with this, it's awful. But the has got one really good prayer, which is a 5-up chord clear, and it's a 4-up chord clear if you're all 10-up. That one is actually really good for a prayer. It's so many times it just does some damage that you need to do. And then you have one to give you a bit extra move. The heroic trait and artifact of power are kind of bad. So one gives you a 5-up ward if you're infantry, otherwise 6-up ward. The only infantry heroes you can take are, I want to say there's a Knight Quester in there, but you can't take Soulsworn. And then there's Lord Terminus and Lord Veridant, I believe. Oh, and a Knight Azeros, I guess. So a Knight Azeros, this is okay. And you can once per battle. This command trait's so bad. Once per battle, you can use the Ruination Chamber ability in that turn an additional time. However, here's the problem. You have to use it after the other unit in your army uses it for the first time, the way that it's written. It's just terrible, right? You can't, you have to wait for them to use it, and then you use it, right? Anyway, it's horrible. So, basically, ignore everything, and this is your ability, and it's really good. Okay, that's all. So, take 24 Reclusians and don't die. That's the list. Okay.
You're very slow.
Yeah, you are slow, but
and the problem in this meta when OBR is quite prevalent and they have -1 ward, it's a problem.
Yeah, but you've only got 5 at ward in one unit, right? So it's just yeah. You just survive on wounds, and then basically what you do is you take Taunus, you're regenerating while you're in combat, and then when you get out of combat, you have the big turn where you get like 1 model, maybe 2 models back, and then another 1 back at the end of the turn from combat. So even if you have 1 Reclusian left, you can kind of get to 3 to 4 Reclusians in 1 turn, which is pretty nice. You don't have...
Is that better than having evocators and evocats though?
Yeah, I think it is. I played with it. It did seem, because they're like, the Reclusian War Scroll is really good. So that's the thing, right? It's just in Stormcast they have no synergies. So if you add some synergies on top, they become good, I think. They do mortal wound. They're basically chosen, right? They have the same thing just without the double fight. So, I mean, you got to think about it as like regenerating chosen, right? And then it's interesting.
Yeah.
So
maybe you need a wizard with bridge.
The only wizard you can take is the Stormcast. Yeah. So, and I wouldn't take them in this list. So, yeah. Just take the priests, and you have to take Iridan, so he's probably your only priest. Yep. So the list I've been taking is 24 Reclusians, the Taunus guy, Iridan, and then 2 units of 5 Vindictors and 5 Vigilers. That's been the list I've been running. So lots of 5-inch move guys that don't die. Wow, Stuart's running that again. Very original. The Portaloo, the terrain feature. The terrain feature is really good in this army because you obviously don't have the Scions thing, so it's really good in this army. Yeah. All right, we have the other one, which I don't know if this one's good, but it exists. Heroes at the First Forge.
This is the Bastion one.
Yeah, this is the Bastion one. So you have your normal Scions, and he can once per turn set up a. I think it's only Annihilators. Wholly within 6 of him and more than 3 from enemies. He can be 3 away with 6 Grand Hammers, which is pretty scary. And then this ability is actually really good, where you pick an infantry unit, which does include Bastion, the Prime, and a bunch of other things, right? And then you can just charge while you're in combat, and you can move through enemy mortars when you do so. That can be pretty good. But it's only your charge phase. If that was your opponent's turn, that would be mental. But it's only your turn. Yeah, you can. I don't know why they keep making these in the armies of renown that you can like only summon one of the manifestations from Stormcast. Is it just like it's because it fits on the page? Is that what? It's like you're never gonna take this, right?
Oh no.
Anyway, you just take a generic one. So your prayer law is pretty bad. I think the only prayer. Who's the only... can you take a Lord Relictor? You can. Okay, you can take all the Warrior Chamber heroes, so you can, but +2 move. And in a 6, you can get another unit to move. I mean, whatever, right? It's just probably bad. Dispel Law, it's a good one where you just do AoE mortal wounds, and then there's another one where you get the Extremist Chamber thing where you reflect mortal wounds on a 6. But it's kind of whatever. They have a really good artifact. I tried to work out what I would take this heroic trait on to get +1 attack near Bastion Carthalis. There's no good options. There's a one. It's not even once per game. It's just any combat phase. Pick an enemy unit when combat, and on a 4-up, they can't take ward rolls for the rest of the battle. That's a pretty mental artifact. I mean, yes, it's a 4-up, but it's not even once per game. That's a scary artifact. In terms of the stuff you can take, it's a bit weird. So you can take 1 million heroes, right? Like basically almost all of the heroes in the book. You can take your Krondus and Karazai, and then all the Warrior Chamber heroes, the Prime. I think Indrast is in there as well. Yeah. And the Knight Vexillor as well. It's a Warrior Chamber hero, so I think that's probably you're gonna take some of these. And then the only non-hero stuff you can take are Praetors and Annihilators.
Which might be alright. It's worth trying, isn't it?
So I don't know. Yeah. My only issue with the army is Bastion has to be a general. That's like the big problem because now you can't have Annihilators. You can't have Praetors given Krondus -1 attack. But I mean, yeah, even Bastion with -1 attack.
You could go Bastion, Krondy, and then just loads of Annihilators.
Well, I've actually thought of going the Prime, right? Because with Bastion, you can pre-game move the Prime, which is interesting. I don't know if it's good, but it's interesting. Right? What is it? He moves what, 12, right? So you could just yeet something off, and then oh look, we got a little coding bug in here. Look at this. Got a nan, not a number.
A nan
Yeah. So I don't know. With the prime going down, it's maybe worth a thought. I don't know what the list is for this, but it's interesting.
I do like Crondy with it just makes every Stormcast list better.
Yeah. Do you like the shield annihilators? That's my big question in life, right? Are these good? I don't know. They're like almost good, right?
Yeah.
They do mortal wounds when they come down. And they can be kind of like a counterchargey sort of unit. Or like
Freeze
a counterpunch.
freeze. Rend 1.
Yeah, the damage is bad, right?
You up save though, base is pretty good.
There's a bunch of
Grand
armies that
Hammer's
just...
free up save.
Yeah, they're 3-up save. Yeah.
Ooh, that's expensive in it for a free up save.
But the Grand Hammers do the big damage, right? They're 3 attacks, 3s and 2s, rend 2, 3 damage. So they're doing big damage. And if they charge, they can give something strikes last, which is good synergy with the power through thingy that you've got.
You could probably fit more shield annihilators in there, right? And then just get the -1 to save spell off. And then they're rend 2, aren't they? Essentially the annihilators on with shields.
Yeah, but what do they do?
Charge and pin. Charge and pin with a 2-up save.
Yeah, I just don't know what the list is. I don't know, what's the list going to be? And what hero is going to take the artifact is that's the big problem I couldn't work out.
Oh yeah, true. I forgot you need that. So you need to be 3-drop minimum.
You need a hero that's going to take
Knight Vexilla. The Knight Vexilla, right? So you could take Crondy, Vexilla inside Crondy.
Yeah, you can do that. And then he takes the thingy. Yeah.
And he takes the thingy. And then loads of Annihilators as shields. And Bastion.
Yeah. It's a shame you can't get a shooting unit in there.
Let's do a live list build for the audience. Let's put Bastion in.
Alright, one sec. Alright, let's do it. So what are we? AOS list bot.
I'm doing it at the same time.
Alright, so we go Stormcast. I don't know why it's taking me to it. What's at the top? That's weird. Alright,
what are they called? Thunderhead Host.
Nah, it's not in there on the spot, unfortunately. It doesn't put the armies around in there.
That's fine. We'll get
it's alright, isn't it?
Do it.
So Bastion, right?
Yeah.
Where's he? Lord, what's he called? There we go, Lord Commander, dude. Can he take? Yeah, he can also take a Knight Vexilla, right? Interesting. What then? Crondy, right? Yeah, I think we go Crondy in this army, right? And then we take 3 Praetors for Crondy, probably. Maybe.
That's the only annihilators we can fit in for.
Yeah. So, and then we go a Knight Vex.
With all the artifacts.
And then, so...
It's interesting.
I just don't know. Are they good? That's the problem. Like, okay, yes, we can fit a lot of them in the list, but...
Well, the only way to know is to get somebody to play it.
So I'm thinking more what you do is you take, like... Bastion Prime Crondus with like 3 banners. Okay. And you run like a list where you just don't die. Right? And then you have so like let's say you go maybe not 3 banners, maybe 2 is fine, but you go like Prime as well and then Vex. And then you go and then the rest are Shield Annihilators.
Yeah,
it's a weird points wise, right?
Yeah, so 1960, you could go Lord Commander, 3 units of 3 Annihilators with shields, 3 Annihilators with Grand Hammers, Knight Vex, Crondy, and 2 units of 3 Annihilators. You can get 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 Annihilators plus 3 with Hammers. I might actually try that.
That's with just Crondy, right?
Crondy and Lord Bastion, Knight Vexilla, and then 15 Annihilators with shields and 3 with the Grand Hammers.
Yeah, it could be worth a try. You can go Knight
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 units in a 2-drop.
Yeah.
You could even drop 3 Annihilators for 3 Praetors, then get another unit of Grand Hammers in with Lord Bastion. And that's 2k on the dot. The Crondy can have Night
Yeah, I
Vex,
think you want.
3
I think you want the
Annihilators, 3
Praetors, right? Because the Praetors get to pre-game move as well, right? With Bastion, which is really good. So I just think they're really solid in this army.
And then you can have 2 units of 3 Grand Hammers and 3 units of 3 shields.
Yeah, that actually looks pretty good.
Yeah. There you go. This is live, Stuart and Luke.
It's a lot of mortal wounds when you come down. It's interesting.
That we do many times.
It's maybe worth a try. Yeah.
Yeah.
You maybe make the. I don't know. Do you take 1 unit of 6 Grand Hammers? I don't know.
You could, because you give him +1 to hit and wound, then, couldn't you?
Because you can just take it. They're just off the board, right? And then you just bring them in 3 away. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's a problem. It's a problem to deal with in Deflow, right? That's going to become an issue at some point in the game. Because if you no command something, right, and then they can't redeploy or all-out defense, that unit is just dead.
Nagash! Nagash! It's time to say goodnight. We're going to bed, Nagash.
Look, in the very least, I don't know how good this army would be, but if you can just go second and get the double, it's
over.
Yeah.
It's over. Like most lists. like the game at the moment. If you can just get the double, it's over.
Yeah.
Especially with a 1-drop.
Yeah, with the 1-drops, yeah. Is there a 1-drop here? Without Crondus? I mean, you can do, like... What?
Oh, I don't know. It's not going to be good, is it? It's the... No, there's not, is it? Sure.
That's pretty funny. Bastion 24 Grand Hammers. No, that's obviously terrible, but it's funny.
You even 50 points for a command.
Alright, that will end the episode. Thank you for indulging us in our Heroes of the First Forge nonsense. Yeah, wherever you're seeing this, leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that goodness. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Goodbye.